Hello everyone, I welcome all of you in this physics classes. This session is for class 12th and we are studying chapter 2 electrostatic potential and capacitance. Today we are going to study the topic electrostatic potential energy of a dipole in an external field. That means if a dipole is placed into a uniform electric field, in that situation what is the potential energy of the dipole that we will derive here. We can understand with this figure first, then afterwards we will derive what the expression will come. Here there is a situation of a uniform electric field from positive to negative. This is the direction of electric field lines, and in this we have considered a dipole with an angle theta with these electric field lines. Okay, here there is a dipole. This dipole makes an angle theta with electric field lines. Dipole which consists of a charge minus q and plus q at different ends. The distance between these two charges is 2a, as usual we have studied already in case of dipole. The dipole moment whose direction becomes negative to positive, negative charge to positive charge. This is the direction of electric dipole moment here. So if the angle between the dipole and the electric field lines is theta, then we will calculate the expression of potential energy of a dipole in terms of theta. Then later on we will discuss its different cases when the angle is 90 degree or 180 degree or 0 degree in that situation. Okay, so let us start. After this figure we can write in the derivation the statements only. Let us consider a uniform electric field. In this we have considered a dipole of charges minus q and plus q separated by a distance 2a at an angle theta with the direction of electric field lines. We have studied regarding this one that whenever a dipole is placed into a uniform electric field, that dipole will experience a torque. Correct? If this dipole will experience a torque, what is the expression for it? The expression is tau is equals to P E sin theta, or tau is equals to P cross E. Correct? Here what is P? P is electric dipole moment while E is the electric field. Is that clear? Okay. The situation is we need to calculate the expression of potential energy. And I have told you earlier, whenever we want to derive the expression of potential energy, that means energy, we need to calculate the work done first. And that work done only will be stored in the form of potential energy into the system. Correct? So here, since we are calculating potential energy, we will calculate first the work done. What work done? The work done to rotate this dipole against the electric field. You look at the figure here. If here at this end we have charge minus q and at this end we have charge plus q, it is an angle theta. It means due to this electric field at this end there will be a force F is equals to QE. Because of minus charge it will be minus QE. Remember that formula of electric field, E is equals to force per unit charge. Remember, no? I have taught you the definition of electric field. Electric field is equals to force per unit charge. So from here if I calculate the force, tell me, if there is a charge into a uniform electric field, then that due to that charge there will be a force. And that force is F is equals to minus QE because of negative charge, and it becomes plus QE because of this positive charge. We can see here the magnitude of the forces are equal, QE and QE. What is changed here? What is changed here? Change is only minus and plus. It means this force will be equal and opposite. Children, this is also a situation in which we apply equal and opposite force on this different ends. In that situation, obviously, the total force if I calculate, it becomes 0. In case of dipole, already I have taught you. You tell me if I calculate the total force, then F is equals to plus QE and minus QE, that will be 0. but consider a situation here. The situation is the forces are equal and opposite, acting in different line of axis. What does it mean? It means if I am suppose applying the force on both the ends of this pen, equal and opposite, surely there will be no resultant force we will find out here. Correct? That means this object, neither it will move to this side nor it will move to this side. Correct? In case of this dipole, since the dipole is placed at an angle theta, you tell me, this is the direction of the force here due to minus charge, and this is the direction of force due to this plus charge. No doubt the forces are equal and opposite, but they are acting in the different line of axis. And if they are acting in the different line of axis, surely there will be a torque. Okay? In case of dipole, always remember the total force, that is, there is no doubt regarding that. The total force F is equals to plus QE and minus QE. If we calculate the total force, that will be 0. Total charge will also be 0. Here we are talking about a force which is rotating the dipole into anti-clockwise direction because of this electric field here. Here the forces are acting in the opposite, equal and opposite, and working in the opposite line of axis, and because of opposite line of axis, it is just like we are opening or closing a tap, isn't it? No? Like here, this is a tap and we are applying the force this side and this side. These forces are equal and opposite. This side I have one force and this side one force. If I apply, these forces will be equal and opposite, but they are working in the different line of axis, so it will produce a torque into this, and due to torque, this dipole, this object will rotate into this anti-clockwise, or this dipole will rotate on its axis in this way. So here also the same situation will be performed. Now we are going to calculate, let the small amount of work is done to rotate the dipole through a small angle d theta. Now we are going to rotate this dipole. Since we are going to rotate this dipole, we need to apply the work done. So first we are calculating the small amount of work done to rotate the dipole for a small angle, and then later on we will integrate it, okay, for the total work done. So let's see. If the small amount of work is done, then this work done dW becomes tau into d theta. Some of you may think that why the work done formula is tau into d theta. Even we have studied the formula of the work done is force into displacement. In case of linear motion, in case of linear, we can say linear motion of the body, then we are applying the formula dW or work done is equals to force into displacement. But what is the situation here? Situation is of rotational motion of the body. And in case of rotational motion of the body, obviously we are calculating work done is equals to tau into displacement, and here displacement in terms of theta we will get. If a body is rotating into a circle, then the displacement we will calculate in terms of angle theta. That's why the formula of work done dW is equals to tau into d theta. Okay, tau is called a coupling force, isn't it? No, so tau due to couple of force, due to arm of couple, or due to the rotational force on the body, there is a torque. And in case of rotational work, then we are calculating dW is equals to tau into d theta. Now, what is tau? Tau is already given here, P E sine theta into d theta. Correct? Now, to calculate total work done, what should we do? Obviously, the integration of dW. What is dW? It is P E sine theta and d theta. Children, here we are doing the integration of theta, so the limit should also be in terms of theta only. Initially, if the angle of the dipole is theta 1, and after the rotation, after applying the work done, the dipole rotates and it gets a new angle theta 2. So what should be the limits? Limits of the integration should be theta 1 to theta 2. Earlier the angle was theta 1, so the initial limit is theta 1, and after the rotation the limit is the angle is changed, and the new angle we are getting at theta 2. So the limit is from theta 1 to theta 2. What is P? It's a constant value. E uniform electric field we are calculating. So the integration of sine theta in terms of theta only we will do here by putting the limits theta 1 to theta 2. Now integration you should know. Okay, if you don't know the integration, then such things are not easy to you. W equals to PE, the integration of sine theta is minus cos theta. Limits are again from theta 1 to theta 2. So solve it. W equals to PE, if I take minus sign outside, then tell me, will it be cos theta 2 minus cos theta 1? But in case of upper limit theta 2 we have, so it will be cos theta 2 minus lower limit is theta 1, so it will be cos theta 1. The expression of the work done we got here, W is equals to minus PE cos theta 2 minus cos theta 1. Now the derivation is at its end. If we have calculated the work done, the same amount of work done which we used to rotate the dipole from angle theta 1 to theta 2 will be stored in the form of the potential energy. So the expression of potential energy will be U is equals to whatever be the expression of work done here. So U is equals to minus PE cos theta 2 minus cos theta 1. This is the expression of potential energy. Okay. Again, if we think over this derivation here, it may possible that initially the angle is suppose 0. Initially the angle is 0. That means the dipole is placed in the direction of electric field, and we applied the work done to rotate the dipole by an angle of theta. Then see what situation will come here if theta 1 is 0 and theta 2 is theta. That means earlier the initial position of the dipole is in the direction of electric field, that means it is 0. And after applying work done, the changed angle or the new angle we have got here theta. Now apply these two values over there. So U equals to minus PE cos, in place of theta 2 can we apply theta minus, in place of theta 1 can we apply 0, and you all are intelligent, tell me what is the value of cos 0? Sin 0? 0. Cos 0? 1. The expression will come U is equals to minus PE cos theta minus 1. This expression is also possible if the initial angle is 0, and after that we have rotated the dipole by an angle of theta degree. One more situation may come if theta 1 is 90 degree. If theta 1 is 90 degree, that means the dipole is exactly at perpendicular position with the direction of electric field, and then after applying the work done we have rotated it by an angle of theta. So tell me what it will come. U is equals to minus PE cos theta 2 cos theta, and minus cos theta 1 means cos 90, and the value of cos 90 is 0. And if it is 0, tell me what we are getting. U is equals to minus PE cos theta. So the expression of potential energy, if the dipole initially at 90 degree with the direction of electric field, and see we are getting a U is equals to minus PE cos theta. What does it mean by minus sign here? Minus sign represents that we are doing the work against the direction of electric field. That means here the dipole, this dipole is rotating in anti-clockwise direction, and we are rotating the dipole into a clockwise direction. We are doing work in the opposite direction of the field. That's why exactly we are getting in potential energy in terms of minus only. U is equals to minus PE cos theta. Okay. If the tap is due to the external forces, due to the electric field here, the dipole experiences a torque into this direction. But we are applying the external work done to rotate the dipole into this opposite direction. That's why this is called potential energy in terms of minus U is equals to minus PE cos theta. I hope you have understood it. This is the expression of potential. Don't confuse the expression of potential energy due to system of two charges, and here the potential energy due to a dipole. Here also we have two charges, but in terms of dipole it is. In case of dipole, the two charges are equal and opposite, separated by a small distance 2a, which is having a dipole moment also P, whose direction is from negative to positive charge. So this is the expression of potential energy of a dipole, and the expression earlier we have derived, that was the expression of potential energy of system of two charges. Is that clear? Okay. Now see the next topic. Now see the next topic. Conductors and insulators. Yes, it is a very basic topic. In case of electricity, we should know what are conductors and insulators, and from very beginning onwards we are studying this topic, conductors and insulators. What are conductors and insulators? That can be explained on the basis of the free electrons actually. Conductors which allow the electricity through it, and the insulators which do not allow the electricity through it, they are called conductors and insulators. The question is, how we can define the conductors and the insulators on the basis of their free charges. Along with the conductors and insulators, we should also understand about the free charges and the bound charges. Conductors are having free charges, while insulators do not have the free charges. If we see this atom, in this atom we have orbits, okay? These orbits we have, and the electrons are revolving in these orbits, stationary orbits, okay? Electrons revolve. The electrons which revolve in the outermost orbit of an atom, with the outer shells of the atom, such electrons are loosely bounded with the nucleus. See, here in the nucleus we have positive charge because of proton, and the electrons are having negative charge. These electrons are revolving in the shell, in the orbits of the atom. So the electrons in the outer orbit, in the outer shell of the atom, these electrons are loosely bounded with the nucleus. Since it is negative and it is positive, the protons are having positive charge inside the nucleus, so there should be a force of attraction between them, as Coulomb has stated this. In this case, since the electrons are quite far from the nucleus, as in the formula we have studied, F is equals to K Q1 Q2 upon R square. What it signifies? It means as we move away from the nucleus, the electrons, the force between the electron and the nucleus, that means the protons, that will be reduces. And if we are talking about the outermost electron which are revolving in an orbit, these electrons are loosely bounded with the nucleus. So these electrons can easily access for the electricity. So these electrons are only known as the free electrons, and the materials which are having these free electrons are called conductors. Correct? What are bound charges? Bound charges are those positive charges which is inside the nucleus and the first or inner orbit of the atom. In this orbit, which is very close to the nucleus, if in this orbit, if the electrons are revolving, so these electrons are tightly bounded with this nucleus. So these electrons cannot be used for the conduction purpose. So these electrons and the charges which is inside the nucleus, these are bound charges. Okay, so very simple. The substances which are having the free electrons, those are called conductors, and the materials or the substances which do not have the free electrons or free charges, those are called insulators. Okay, so this is the concept of insulators and the conductors, as well as the concept of free charges and the bound charges. Again, let me explain you. The free charges are the charges or the electrons which in the outermost or the outer orbit of the atom. These electrons are free, loosely bounded with the atom, loosely bounded with the proton which is inside the nucleus. That's why these electrons can be accessed for the electricity, and these charges are called free charges. Bound charges are the charges which is inside the nucleus and the first orbit of the atom. These electrons are tightly bounded with the nucleus, so these electrons cannot use for the access of electricity. So these electrons and the protons inside the nucleus are known as the bound charges. And the concept of conductors and insulators, again, conductors are having free electrons, so they conduct electricity, while the insulators do not have the free electrons, so they do not conduct electricity. Is that clear? Now after that we will study about the dielectrics. Okay, so practice this, then after some time I'll explain you what. Now the next topic is dielectrics. The question is, what are dielectrics? How many types of it? Dielectrics, like if we classify the materials, we can say that the materials are either conductors, insulators, semiconductors. Dielectrics, maybe generally or commonly we can say that the dielectrics are insulating materials. Why so? Because definition says it. Dielectrics are those materials which do not pass electricity through them, but they develop electricity or electric field through them. Since they do not conduct electricity through them, this shows the behavior of insulators. But these materials pass the electricity, these materials develop the electric field through them, then by this content, by this statement, we can say that the dielectrics are exactly different materials than the insulators. Correct? It may be some of the properties of the insulators and the dielectrics are matched. That's why in general also we can say that dielectrics are insulating materials. But dielectrics are those materials which transmit electrical effects without actually conducting electricity through them. Okay? Dielectrics are of two types: polar dielectrics and non-polar dielectrics. फिर समझ लीजिए एक बार, व्हाट आर द डायलैक्ट्रिक्स. एग्जैक्टली डायलैक्ट्रिक्स जो होते हैं वो इलेक्ट्रिक करंट को थ्रू देम पास नहीं करते. इट मींस अगर हम ये कहें कि डायलैक्ट्रिक्स जो होते हैं वो इंसुलेटर्स होते हैं इस प्रॉपर्टी की वजह से, तो ये कहना बिल्कुल भी गलत नहीं होगा कि डायलैक्ट्रिक्स कोई भी इलेक्ट्रिक करंट यानी कोई भी इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड अपने थ्रू पास नहीं करते. इसका मतलब कोई भी इलेक्ट्रिक करंट ऑल्सो दे नेवर पास थ्रू देम, but they develop the electric field through them. इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड इनके थ्रू डेवलप होता है. कैसे होता है वो आगे हम पढ़ेंगे, आगे समझेंगे. तो डायलैक्ट्रिक्स वो मटेरियल्स हैं, दे डू नॉट ट्रांसमिट इलेक्ट्रिसिटी थ्रू देम. ठीक है ना. अब डायलैक्ट्रिक्स आर ऑफ टू टाइप्स, पोलर एंड नॉन पोलर डायलैक्ट्रिक्स. Polar dielectrics are made up with the polar molecules. And what are the polar molecules? Polar molecules do not coincide the center of positive charge and the center of negative charge because of asymmetrical shape. यानी कि पोलर डायलैक्ट्रिक्स की अगर हम बात करें तो पोलर डायलैक्ट्रिक्स जो होते हैं उनका सेंटर ऑफ पॉजिटिव चार्ज, क्योंकि ये पोलर मॉलिक्यूल से मिलकर के बनते हैं, और वो पोलर मॉलिक्यूल्स कैसे होते हैं जिनका कि सेंटर ऑफ पॉजिटिव चार्ज और सेंटर ऑफ नेगेटिव चार्ज कोइंसाइड नहीं करता. ऐसे कई सारे एग्जांपल है, जैसे कि मैं आपको बताऊं H2O यानी कि H2O, HCl, अल्कोहल, ऐसे कई सारे एग्जांपल्स हैं जो कि पोलर डायलैक्ट्रिक्स को एक्सप्लेन करते हैं. मेरे नोट्स में अगर आप देखेंगे तो मैंने वहां पर फिगर्स भी ड्रॉ किए हैं और ये समझाया है कि कैसे असिमेट्रिकल शेप की वजह से मॉलिक्यूल्स के जो सेंटर ऑफ पॉजिटिव चार्ज होता है वो सेंटर ऑफ नेगेटिव चार्ज के साथ में कोइंसाइड नहीं करता है. सो सच डायलैक्ट्रिक्स आर कॉल्ड पोलर डायलैक्ट्रिक्स. दूसरी तरफ व्हाट आर द नॉन पोलर डायलैक्ट्रिक्स. नॉन पोलर डायलैक्ट्रिक्स में नॉन पोलर डायलैक्ट्रिक्स के कई सारे एग्जांपल हैं. जैसे कि अगर मैं आपको बताऊं हाइड्रोजन, नाइट्रोजन, ये सारे एग्जांपल आपके नॉन पोलर डायलैक्ट्रिक्स के हैं. और ये है कौन से? ये है क्या? नॉन पोलर डायलैक्ट्रिक्स आर दोज मटेरियल्स which are made up with the non-polar molecules, and the non-polar in case of non-polar molecules the center of positive charge and the center of negative charge coincide with each other. है ना। ये 3 सर्कल्स को मैं अगर एक के ऊपर एक के ऊपर एक के ऊपर एक रख दूं, अगर 3 डिस्क अगर मैं ले लूं और एकदम सिमेट्रिकल शेप की अगर वो डिस्क होंगी और उनको मैं एक के ऊपर एक के ऊपर एक अगर रख दूं तो जो उनका सेंटर होगा वो कोइंसाइड करेगा नहीं करेगा। तो यही है आपके नॉन पोलर डाइलेक्ट्रिक्स। नॉन पोलर डाइलेक्ट्रिक्स वो डाइलेक्ट्रिक्स है जिनके सेंटर ऑफ पॉजिटिव और नेगेटिव चार्जेस जो होते हैं मॉलिक्यूल्स के वो कोइंसाइड करते हैं, है ना। तो ये होते हैं आपके नॉन पोलर डाइलेक्ट्रिक्स। सो इट इज ऑल अबाउट द डाइलेक्ट्रिक्स, polar and non-polar dielectrics. Again, I should tell you, the dielectrics are those materials which do not allow electricity through them, which do not allow us to pass electricity through them, but they develop the electric field through them. Okay, these are two types: polar dielectrics and non-polar dielectrics. In case of polar dielectrics, the polar molecules do not coincide with each other because of their asymmetrical shape, and the non-polar dielectrics, their molecules center of positive and negative charges coincide with each other. So these are polar and non-polar dielectrics. ठीक है ना। इन डायलैक्ट्रिक्स का हम सबसे ज्यादा यूज पढ़ेंगे जब हम आपको कैपेसिटर पढ़ाएंगे। कैपेसिटर पढ़ेंगे तो वहां पर समझेंगे कि डायलैक्ट्रिक्स का यूज कैसे करते हैं और क्या कैपेसिटी में इनकी वजह से चेंजेस आ जाते हैं। इज दैट क्लियर? नाउ आफ्टर द डायलैक्ट्रिक वी शुड नो व्हाट इज पोलराइजेशन। Polarization. When non-polar dielectrics they placed into an external field, ठीक है, जैसे कि ये अगर नॉन पोलर डाइलेक्ट्रिक्स हो, अगर ये किसी एक्सटर्नल फील्ड में रखे जाते हैं, कंसीडर करे जाते हैं, तो टेल मी जो सेंटर ऑफ पॉजिटिव और नेगेटिव चार्जेस हैं, तो जो पॉजिटिव चार्ज होंगे वो टुवर्ड्स द नेगेटिव प्लेट अट्रैक्ट हो जाएंगे और जो नेगेटिव चार्जेस होंगे वो आपका टुवर्ड्स द पॉजिटिव प्लेट अट्रैक्ट हो जाएंगे। क्या मतलब हुआ इस बात का? इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि जो नॉन पोलर डाइलेक्ट्रिक्स जिनके सेंटर और पॉजिटिव चार्जेस एक दूसरे से कोइंसाइड कर रहे थे, हमने उनको पोलराइज्ड कर दिया, हमने उनको सेपरेट कर दिया। कैसे? बाय एन एक्सटर्नल फील्ड। So when the non-polar dielectrics are held into an external field, then the positive charges move towards the negative plate, that means in the direction of electric field, and the negative charges they move towards the positive plate, that means in the opposite direction of electric field, and then they detached from each other, they separated from each other, and this phenomena is only known as polarization, electrical polarization. Is that clear? So what is dielectric polarization? A phenomena in which the center of positive charge and the center of negative charge they get separated from each other. They move towards the field and in the opposite direction of the field in an external field. Then this phenomena is called polarization, dielectric polarization. Okay? It means half of the chapter 2 is finished, in which we have studied the potential and the other topics also. Now, till here you study. Afterwards, I will explain you the very important part of this chapter, that is capacitor. Okay, it will take almost 2 lectures and the capacitor will also be finished. But trust me, the capacitors are very important as well as very interesting also to understand. Is that clear? So, today you study till these topics, polarization. These are mainly theoretical topics. No derivation portion is here, but these are theoretical topics, conceptual topics. These are simply concepts which we should remember. Okay, 1 marks or 2 marks question may come in the exam from these topics. So for today it is sufficient. Keep revising. Stay home. Stay safe. Thank you very much.